What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Cultureverse podcast. Today, we are doing a little event for you guys. Tyler's come up with a bunch of current events, which is a little bit of a throwback to how we used to do things on this page, starting with current events here and there. But we're just doing a big episode just focusing on current events. There have been a ton of news dropping for all sorts of different things. So, Tyler has made a list of several different things, and we're just going to let him kind of lay out each topic and try to give our thoughts on it. So, Tyler, with that, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with the big one. Obviously, Netflix is basically in talks of getting Warner Bros. However, since that happened, Paramount has tried to step in and take over. So I'm gonna leave you guys the floor and discuss what this will do to cinema.
By you
Risk.
guys, you mean
Bad
Caleb.
things.
Gil,
Let
I'll let
Caleb
you
go
go.
for like
You're probably
15
the
minutes.
most
I woke up pissed off.
passionate here. Go
I,
on.
I'm telling you, when I woke up and saw that, it's like a hit. It's like I can't even say that. It's like a hit when you open Twitter for the first time and it scrolls down and you see all the what's happened overnight, and that's the first thing that hit my face. I was like, my smile just dropped, and so I was like, it was. I was angry, and I was even angrier in our group chat when I first brought it up.
Mhm.
This is a disastrous thing that's happening, and it's been a trend in movie going experience for a while. It's just been going down. People have talked about not going to movie theaters anymore. That's a thing that happens. Um, and this is kind of like the biggest culmination of it all. And honestly, people are I think people are happier about Paramount Plus like trying to have like a what is like a they put in like a vial. It's like a there's like a term for it, like a heist or something, or like a
They're
strike or
trying to take
something.
over. They're trying to like
Yes.
overrun them,
There's
basically.
some term, but it would just be them basically buying it instead. I don't see that as a good thing either, quite honestly. Instead of Netflix, it being all on Netflix, it would just all be on Paramount Plus.
Which,
It's
yeah,
it's very similar. Maybe since Paramount is more of a
it's actually
film,
almost even worse. Like, who
yes,
has Paramount Plus?
I think there's a mini upgrade
Most people don't
because
have Paramount Plus.
I think Paramount Plus, like they're more of a movie like theaters
Yeah.
platform, and Netflix is not. I feel like Paramount would be maybe more lenient with like how long things are in theaters for than Netflix would, but not by a lot. Like the thing with Netflix doing it, the thing that I kept thinking was about is there's jokes about, people are going to watch Dune 3 and the Batman on Netflix. That's not, I mean, that's a little bit of an over exaggeration. Like clearly it'll get a theater time. But the question is how many theaters get
And
it
how
is,
long?
is something. How long? I mean, people will see it in theaters for sure. Is it a 2 week thing? Like Frankenstein, great movie. I wanted to go see it in theaters, but it was only showing in X amount of theaters. Now imagine we're on the scale of the Batman or Dune 3. I will freak out. I'll fly to a different state to watch those movies. Like, and that's what they want. They want consumers to pay more for their products. And imagine if Netflix monopolizes the movie industry. Do you know how much money Netflix will cost a month?
It'll be the next
$30.
Amazon.
$30
HBO
probably.
Max and Netflix together on the same platform.
It'll be an absurd amount of money. And that's just the beginning. Uh, Movie theaters would see less box office. What's leading to that? Just thinking about like DC. I know I'm going on a tangent right now, but DC itself is like reviving itself. The box
It's
office
over.
is going to be drastically hit. And so what's the market what's the approach from James Gunn then? Are they going to cut down on how many movies are made? I would say probably. Are they going to cut down on the quality of them? Probably, because you're going to get more money if you lower the quality of the thing. Like just put it on Netflix. Who cares? And so you're going to lose the quality of the movies. You're going to lose how you can access them. What a disaster. And it's just really annoying, especially since this is like a hobby and not even my job. I can't even imagine for people that are like filmmakers. I would be like, because they have to. It's not like people like the diehard directors want to do this. It's not like Josh Safdie wants to like put his movies direct to Netflix. At least I don't think so. But he's kind of forced to. So it's what a mess. I'll step off my soap opera, but what a bad day to see that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly who said it or what the context of the quote was, but someone, I believe it might have been the Netflix CEO, made some sort of comment on like saying that people don't want to go see movies in theaters,
Yeah,
which
it
is
was their
just
current CEO.
insane, frankly. That's just a crazy statement. Like I said in our group chat, I said there are these things called movie theaters that are for seeing movies. Like people have always wanted to go to the theater to see movies. Now, yeah, obviously there are streaming releases and Netflix releases. Like the first thing that comes to my mind is like the shitty kissing booth movies. No, no one's gonna go see that in theaters. But you're not just gonna not go see all these other movies that are gonna be big just because it's a Netflix release instead. Like Caleb was talking about Frankenstein. There's no reason that wasn't a theatrical release. It had the power. It had the star power. It had a big story. It was
Yeah.
lengthy. It had a big budget. It had a nice setting.
Getting
Everything in
five
that.
Golden Globes nominated for it. So
Exactly. Everything in that screams this was probably a really cool theater experience. Except it was for the 13 theaters in the country that showed it. Like it's and obviously that's an exaggerated number, but my point is
It's
like
around that probably.
that's ridiculous that his statement is people don't want to go see movies in the theaters anymore. That's just horribly wrong. I mean, that is a incredibly incorrect statement. He's not basing that off numbers. He's not basing that off anything other than just his own opinion. And he's probably ignoring numbers at that point just to back up and justify his reasoning for why we should have more movies go through Netflix, which is just ridiculous. It's like Caleb said, the only goal they have is get more people to spend more money on our stuff, on our platform. And Netflix already is bad enough with the whole like inclusion of ads and whatnot now and trying to get you to pay for
The sharing.
premium Netflix. That way you don't have to have ads. It's yeah, and you can't share things like that anymore. It's just going to get significantly worse, like Caleb mentioned, with price, with everything involved, to the point where, and they have movies that are locked. You can't even watch some movies unless you have premium Netflix. That's just ridiculous. So you're going to get to the point where you're going to have these pretty decent sized movies that are Netflix releases that are locked unless you have Netflix Premium, and you're not going to be able to watch certain movies because they lock it. And that's not going to happen for huge movies, obviously, but you're going to have middle of the pack, like
Frankenstein could.
Frankenstein level movies that are considered a Netflix release that they're going to put behind a locked door unless you pay for premium, which is going to be 30 a month. That's absolutely pathetic. I mean, we're already spending absurd amounts of money across all like if you pooled up all the money that you spend monthly on streaming services, it's not okay. Like we just ignore it because we watch so many movies and TV shows, but like it is a lot of money and it just goes up. It feels like every single year annually. So if we get to the point where Netflix is gonna take over and start doing this with these movies, it's going to get really bad. So Caleb, you're fully justified for being angry. Like there's no reason not to be angry about this kind of thing. I think it's absolutely pathetic. But if they want to keep doing their little shitty Netflix releases and drop a gem on us every 10 movies, go ahead. Like, I'm not complaining about that. There are some movies that should be streaming releases. For example, this just came on the top of my head, but anytime there's a copy and paste Jason Statham movie, that's the type of movie that you can just watch on your couch because it's a fun action movie. You don't need to do a theatrical release for that. That's fine. But if we get to the point where we're locking behind doors these actually like good looking movies because Netflix now owns the right to that kind of stuff, I will be really, really pissed. And I know we will not be the only people. There will be a lot of very angry movie fans.
yeah, there's a lot of red flags coming from this. Um, with Netflix, the CEO even came out and said like they're gonna shorten the watch window when they do put stuff in theaters, and this could potentially lead to movie theater prices having to go up because nobody's going to the movies and it's already expensive enough, which goes back to his statement of nobody likes going to the movies, which is wrong, but I understand what he's trying to say because a lot of people in 2025, a lot of people are preferring to stay at home and wait for it to come out on streaming, which is very true. Obviously, we are not those people, but with the pricing of movie theaters and all that, it's causing people to do that. And if Netflix takes over Warner Bros., it's going to definitely lead to more prices going up. And I haven't done much research into this whole debacle, but why is Warner Bros. Even selling in the first place? I mean, this past year, they cooked.
Yeah.
They had what Sinners, they had Superman, they had
Weapons.
F1 weapons. I mean, they cooked this year. Like why? eh, Um, one battle after another. I mean, they had
Oh, yeah.
cinema after cinema after cinema, and I don't understand why they're selling in the first place. I don't know if you guys do.
I haven't done a lot of research into that either, but I'm looking right now, Jack. If you have something to say, if you want, I can research for a second.
I would assume just based on what I know, it feels like they're on a high. I think you're right, Tyler. I think they're on a high and they're probably looking at the outlook for the future of movie theaters and they're probably like our value might not go up from here. And so that could be why. I'm not saying that is why, but that feels like that's about one of the only reasons that would make sense to me. Or they know that some shit's about to hit the fan in the next year or so, and they're going to be like, we need to get ahead of this and just get it out of the way. They could also have, top CEOs or top players in their like currently in their organization that are going to leave, and they're like, we're gonna, stuff like that. That would be the only thing that would make sense to me. But I did want to double back quickly on something you guys were talking about, which is the concept of what the co-CEO, whatever his name is, said about people not wanting to see movies in theaters. I do think I agree a little bit with Tyler. I think there is some truth to profitability wise. I think the you can maximize it by forcing everyone to be on a streaming service, by forcing people to go through that avenue. Because, like Gabe said, if you can monopolize it, you can charge ridiculous amounts for this stuff. The ad revenue is insane. You're controlling, literally, people can only see it through your production. It's like you own the movie theater. And you don't have to pay the cut to the movie theater. You don't have to have a middleman. You're just putting it straight to them. You're the only one producing and serving the product, which, yeah, that's probably going to maximize your profit. But it's not like what's stupid to me is that this is just a step up in corporate greed from them because you can still make plenty of money releasing movies in the theaters. We saw the live action Lilo and Stitch hit $1 billion this year. I didn't give a shit about that movie, and I'm a huge movie fan. Did did you three all see it?
I didn't.
I did.
So
Tyler, I
half
did.
of half of this movie podcast that loves movies didn't even see that shit, and it made $1 billion. The what was the other movie? Zootopia 2 already made $1 billion. It's been out for like 2 weeks. If the product is there, people will go see this movie or go see movies. Superman, I know wasn't like the biggest smash hit of all time, but it cleared $600 million, did it not?
Hmm.
You can that's still probably I'm just gonna guess that the movie was probably on a 200 150 to 200
Around
million
there.
dollar budget.
Yeah.
That's $400 million of profit. That's that's plenty of money. That will keep you in business. The problem is they want as much money as possible, not just a level of profit. They want as much as they can possibly wring out of every movie. So I don't think it's people don't want to see movies. I think it's we can get more money by forcing them to see it in their houses. And I think it's kind of just a bit of bullshit excuse out of them. I honestly don't think movie theaters will ever. eh, it's possible, but
AI.
I don't think movie theaters will die. Like I don't think that's ever going to go away, but it could become a lot more limited. I don't think it's like video stores like Family Video and Blockbuster where they're just going to go extinct because I think there'll always be some demand for them, but I could see it becoming like this prestigious thing where like I don't know, did Tyler bring that up or something where the ticket prices could just start skyrocketing because it's just limited because you're going to see smaller movie theaters close. Cinemark's going to be the only one open. And I love Cinemark, but they're like the top dog if you're not a huge cinema like um what am I thinking here? Company where you own hundreds and hundreds of locations. It might die like those like old-timey theaters that you can still find in older parts of towns and stuff. We might start losing those if stuff shit like this keeps happening. And that's what annoys me because I was one of the people who fell to my knees when my family video closed in Altoona, and
Yeah, I love that one.
that it was awful. And if that starts happening in my movie theaters, people are going to get hurt.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research. I can't really totally confirm this, but a lot of it people are saying is just profit potential. It didn't have to. It's they're a public company, so it's shareholders that are getting more money because of Jack is pretty much on the nose when he was just talking about why they're doing it. It's just maximizing their money. They didn't have to at all. It's just the fact that they could, and so they're like, okay, why not? I see that they're a little bit in debt over time with some bad financial decisions, and we are using some recency bias for this. But like you said, they got to think bigger picture here, and unfortunately, they're just not. So that's the whole thing. And I want one thing I want to circle back to really quickly is about the whole streaming industry itself. There is a beneficial alley to streaming movies. That's how a lot of low budget movies get their shine. Like Gabe and I watched Broke. That was never going to be a theatrical release. They didn't even want it to be a theatrical release because they knew that people were buying those straight to video to demand, and some people are going to watch it, some people are going to like it, and then they create two new fans. So now, Gabe, whenever we see his next new movie, we're going to be like, I mean, we might. That's how those small directors get those avenues, is
Hmm.
through those streaming movies. So it's not like people don't want to watch it. And I didn't even think about the fact that I mean, it is true. Like, it's nice sometimes to watch a movie from home. Like, I think I would prefer, I think most of us prefer, if not all of us, to go to a movie in theaters. If it was cheaper, obviously. But it is nice sometimes to see movies from home. I get it. But to this rate, it's too
That's
much.
a
No.
it's a good point, Caleb. There should be a happy medium. There's plenty of space in the movie industry for both to exist perfectly fine.
Yeah.
There's just no reason to cut either out. I'm not against streaming either, even though I just shit all over it. But I think there's a beautiful happy medium like you're just talking about.
The last thing I was going to point out really quick before we wrap this up, I did find an article essentially saying that they chose to sell because they are buying into the future of streaming over movies, and they're
Yeah,
trying
of
to
course they
compete
are.
with, well, they're trying to compete with Disney and Amazon. That's the biggest thing. They're trying to compete with those two big powerhouses right now. So their thought is selling out now while it's high, like Jack mentioned, because they think that the future is in streaming. So they're essentially choosing that streaming will be bigger than theatrical releases, which that's really unfortunate that we are now living in a world where that's a thing that a giant company is just choosing after we just mentioned they just had a crazy successful theatrical year. So that's kind of where we can leave that at is they didn't have to do it, but they're choosing to do it. They believe in the streaming future, and that's kind of their driving force. So with that, Tyler, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, so we're gonna stick on the Warner Bros. Side of things. So the Batman Part Two is obviously in pretty pre-production, and they're finding locations and all that fun stuff to film. But we have a huge update, two of them actually. One, we are getting a goated cinematographer. David Fincher, cinematographer, will now be shooting for the Batman Part Two, and also Scarlett Johansson is reportedly to be casted in the Batman Part Two. What character? We do not know.
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of waiting for just any sort of news about this movie. Reports also came out that that role Scarlett is getting was actually meant for Emma Stone at first, but she
Mhm.
turned it down. She did not want the role. She was busy with something else. But if this does happen, I'd be very curious to see what role she plays. I do believe that it was listed that people are saying she'd be a villain of some sort
A love
or
interest turned villain.
an
Yeah.
ex
Poison
villain or
Ivy.
something. Could be a Poison Ivy, could be I mean, we also know that Zoe Kravitz will not be in this movie. She will not be a part of this, which is big too. No, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of write that.
Mhm.
But I mean, they have a obviously a path. I mean, if you guys have seen the Penguin, there's a lot that connects to the movie as well, and a lot that ties into where the Batman 2 is going to go. There's a lot of things that build off of that, but I wanted to talk more about the cinematographer that you mentioned. What a perfect cinematographer for this type of movie. I mean, there are a handful of scenes in the Batman one that feel like Seven. I mean, a lot of the camera work, a lot of the different types of the whole mystery aspect, all that is my favorite aspect of the Batman. It's my favorite thing about it is this detective side of him and getting a cinematographer who has literally been responsible for one of the greatest detective mystery movies ever is something that I mean you couldn't have picked a better choice. That's just such a good pick. So that's kind of where I'm at is like we're already going to be there no matter what. And we're already really excited about it. But when you get news like this, like they're bringing in David Fincher's cinematographer, they're bringing in potentially Scarlett Johansson, a huge powerhouse actress. And a couple of weeks ago as well, there was the rumor that Oscar Isaac is going to be playing a role in this, which there hasn't been quite as much steam on that recently. But if we end up having Oscar Isaac and Scarlett Johansson in this movie, that would be insane. I don't know if the budget could handle that. That would be absolutely ridiculous.
Maybe not
But
anymore.
fuck, maybe. But I all I know is those are two really good updates to me. I mean, Scarlett Johansson is an incredible actress, so it'd be interesting to see what character she ends up playing. But both of these updates are things that we've kind of been waiting for, just any sort of updates for Matt Reeves' Batman. And these are two that I frankly have somehow managed to up my excitement for the Batman 2, which I didn't know how possible that was until we got a trailer. So,
Hey, Gabe, this is kind of random, but I was Googling the cinematographer for the first Batman. Have you looked at him before?
I mean, I've looked at I no,
The
not the second.
cinematographer from the first Batman or from the Batman also did both the Dune movies.
That makes
Well,
sense.
well, that's not surprising.
You might want to
Yeah.
give that guy a hug or something.
Yeah.
Well, he
He did
probably,
The
But
I think,
Creator as
I think
well.
they
I
won
think you liked that
cinematography.
movie.
So
what'd you say, Kim?
I oh.
No,
Well,
Caleb said something. And
I said that I
Yeah,
think
not
they
you, Jack.
won I think they won best cinematography last year for Doom Part 2.
Oh,
So I mean, not surprising.
what a shocker!
Yeah,
Sh- I'm not even gonna get into the Doom
yeah,
movies and the
I
awards
didn't
that
mean
they
to. I
should
didn't
have
mean to derail
that they
anything.
should have won.
well, so
Fuck
David
you,
Fincher,
Tyler.
when we watched Seven, that was one of the first things we talked about was how Seven feels it's grimy. It's a
Mhm.
gross looking in a positive way movie.
Yes.
And that's Gotham. I remember explicitly putting that in a review like, does this feel like the Batman to you guys?
Yeah.
And we were all like, yes. So I mean that's perfect. It's gonna feel seamless. Is the guy that did the Batman not working on this at all though? Is he like
I
not
think
coming
he's working on
back?
Dune
Not that
3.
I could see.
I
Oh
think
wow.
he's explicitly working on Dune 3, and because they're so close, he can't
Yeah.
do both.
I guess that's kind of sucks. But I mean, if you're gonna have Fincher as a replacement, I mean, pretty seamless if that works out. But as far as Scarlett Johansson, she brings that she puts butts in seats too. And if she's Poison Ivy, that'd be cool. Even if she's, I'm not that caught up on like DC lore, so I
Mm.
couldn't even give you a casting.
He's working on the Beatles, the 4 Beatle
Oh,
movies.
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But I still
I forgot
I
that
couldn't
that's
even give
four
you
movies.
alternate castings for her. But I saw some people saying Poison Ivy, so it kind of just feels right to me. So I don't know.
I
Yeah.
saw like a list, I think, of like six different roles she could be playing. So I'm trying not to like mentally slot her in anything at the moment. But
What were some other
I
ones?
heard. I think guys, Gabe and Tyler might have to help me here. I think I saw like the Phantasm. Is that a character that
Yes,
got?
that's
Mask
one
of
of
the
the
Okay, that
roles.
Phantasm,
was the
yeah.
other one I saw.
That's
I
what a lot of
technically
people are saying because she looks
I don't even
like.
know what that character is.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Well,
is.
I won't go on because I know Gabe hasn't seen it and he wants to see it, so I don't want to say
Okay.
anything.
Okay. But it's a character that we've seen before in the animated
Mm.
universe. Okay. Well then, yeah, by all means, I have no problem seeing a character I haven't seen before on screen. That's cool to me.
Well, and we know Reeves has said that this will be a character we've never seen put onto live
Yeah.
action before. So
Oh, so not Poison Ivy.
We've
technically,
had a Poison
no.
Ivy, yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
in
yeah, yep,
one of the
Was
old
it
ones.
Uma
Yeah,
yeah.
Thurman?
She
Was that
was
who it
in.
was?
I don't remember.
I think it was
I
Uma
just know
Thurman.
she's in it.
The Clooney movie, I think. That or yeah, the last Keaton movie, one of the two.
Batman and Robin, that one. Probably that one.
No, I
I
don't think so.
honestly don't know.
Yes,
Whatever.
it is.
Nope.
With
Um,
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, and you have Uma Thurman, Poison Ivy.
Yes, it is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Peak.
Caleb, I also wanted to mention you talked about the kind of the grimy side of it and whatnot. And going off of the Penguin, you absolutely see the grimy side of Gotham in a way that even the Batman didn't quite touch on as much as the Penguin does. I mean, obviously in the Batman, it's very dark, it's very brooding, it's a very accurate representation of what I think Gotham should look like. But when you watch the Penguin, you see more of that darker, even darker, like even more like the poorer side of Gotham, which is something that we also didn't see quite as much of in some parts. So just kind of knowing the setting of this movie, it'd be interesting to see what we kind of get since we're getting Fincher's cinematographer. So it'll just be really interesting. But yeah, Tyler, do you want to give some of your thoughts? You brought up the topic.
I mean, you guys kind of nailed it. I mean, Gabe, you said specifically, I didn't think I could get any more excited for the Batman part two. I mean, we're literally going to be there day one.
Yep.
Um, but the thing that really caught my eye is the fact that Scarlett Johansson apparently was like, I don't care what the money is, and she's might even be taking like a pay cut. She just wants this role really bad, and apparently she's taking the Keanu Reeves route where she's taking the percentage or box office percentage instead of
Uh-huh.
the salary or whatever. So yeah, that's it's really exciting. Can't wait. It's gonna be cinema.
Absolutely.
Kind
All
of kind of
right.
interesting here, really quick.
Nope.
Fincher's never actually been a cinematographer like in that role individually. He's been a director, an executive producer, actor, but he's never actually just done solely cinematography, which I know he's involved with that as a director, but I mean, maybe it'll be interesting as a role, like how will he work with Reeves? You know, that's pretty, I feel like it would be, I don't know the dynamics that big, but like, it gotta be interesting when you have two like big directors working in two different roles. Like, I wonder how that works. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. I mean, it's not much to add on, but it's just really curious that he's never done this individually. So yeah.
All right, moving on to the next one. We got some God of War news. Obviously, we know we're getting a TV show for God of War, and some updates coming out of it. We are getting the Shogun director, Ronald D. Moore. I've never seen it. I've heard great things about it though, and apparently it's getting 2 seasons. Also, there is two actors that are apparently being eyed for Balder and Thor. It is Max Parker. He's known for Boots. Never heard of it, so don't judge me. And then, oh, I'm gonna butcher this name. Olafur Darry Olafsson from Severance. Never seen Severance. Obviously, I've heard it's amazing. So, yeah, I mean, they look the roles for sure, but I don't have any information on anything about them. So there's that.
You mentioned the things with Shogun. I've never watched it either. I really wanted to, but I never got around to watching it. But it was like getting some crazy hype when it first came out. People were saying that it was one of the better shows of the year.
Hmm.
And I just know that from what I have seen, obviously I've seen clips, I've seen trailers, it looks incredible. It looks super, super good. Knowing that we're bringing that kind of style, that sort of perspective to this show is something that's promising. I mean, funny enough, I get really excited about this show existing, but there's like 70% of me that's more concerned than excited. I just don't see how they're. I think this is a hard story to tell well. It's hard to cast Kratos. It's hard to cast Atreus. It's hard to do this. Like we've seen. It's one of those things where the story game is so much of a story that it's almost like how do you turn this into a show without just doing the exact same thing? And just because at that point it's just a live action adaptation, and that's not what we want. We don't want just a straight shot for shot live action adaptation. So like I'm concerned about this show going forward, despite God of War being my favorite story game of all time. With that being said, though, I do think this is some good news. I mean, I like hearing the thing about the Shogun guy, but then the two castings that you mentioned, Tyler, I think those are both really good. I like really good, and that is something that seems to be the kind of the stigma surrounding the show is casting is going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. Like, there's not a lot of really high quality mythological projects. There really just aren't. I think people try not to approach mythology too much because in terms of like a medium as a book, like the Iliad, the I mean everything with mythology that's been written is so good that directors are almost afraid to touch that. They almost don't want to try to go, and when they do, it doesn't usually turn out super well. There are some projects that they're fun, but they're not that good. For example, with books, I mean, obviously Rick Riordan does a great job with the Percy Jackson books. You see it go to film and it shits the bed. You just have you have several examples, and now you know his show is doing. We like the show, excluding Tyler. We
I was
think
gonna say we.
we think the show is at least accurate to the book, but still, in terms of like mythology, we haven't seen much. It's only been season one, so we've only seen what's been in the first book. But a project like God of War is such a deep and like aggressive dive into mythology that you can't afford to do it incorrectly, in my opinion. So it's going to come down to a lot of behind the scenes work, and a lot of that's going to go into the castings. You have to hit on these castings, and both of those guys I think are perfect. Specifically, whoever the guy's name was for Balder, I think that guy could
Yeah, no,
absolutely
I'm not trying. Oh wait, Balder.
No, Max Parker, yeah.
Yeah,
there,
yeah. I
thank
was
you.
like,
Yeah.
if it's Thor, I'm not trying that again.
Well, the Thor, he looked good too, but the guy for Balder, I think, really could kill that role. I'll put it this way: I said I'm 70% concerned. I do think this news it puts me a little, drops my concern a little bit, but overall, I need a lot more information before I'm gonna be like freaking out that this show is gonna exist.
The
Yeah, I feel
both
like
roles are being sorry, real quick. The both roles are being described as physically demanding and emotionally heavy. So
Absolutely. I mean
as they
that,
are.
yeah, that couldn't be
mhm,
much more accurate.
yeah,
Yeah. I was gonna say, this movie just kind of I have
the
a
show.
concern. This show, sorry, the show is gonna be. It's gonna feel low budget. That's my concern. Where it just kind
I
of there hasn't been a lot of high, studios that have picked it up. We don't know much about besides the show,
Amazon picked it up.
which is nice. But I feel like Amazon sometimes has like some stinkers. I don't know. It's a little concerning.
That's what makes me very positive about this show is the fact that Amazon has it.
Well, I
I
guess so.
agree
You
with
guys have
that.
seen like the boys, and I
The
haven't
Boys,
seen. Yeah,
Invincible,
yeah.
Reacher.
That's kind of where. Yeah,
Did
that's
they do
where.
Rings of
Terminal
Power or was
List,
that someone else?
Yeah, they did Rings of Power.
Okay,
Terminal
so
List.
Wasn't that
I guess
Terminal
wasn't
List.
wasn't Rings of Power received well?
It was. I would
Because
put
that's
it
that's kind
more
of
middle
that's kind
pack.
of what you
It was
need
all right.
for a God of War type. You need a lot of like the environment and
yeah,
Hmm.
I guess from
whatnot
my
that comes
personal
with that
experience,
fantasy.
I just haven't really had a lot of Prime,
I'm just
which
glad HBO didn't take it over. We've
that's
seen Last of Us
that's
happen,
fine.
and we
Yeah,
do
that's
not
fine.
want that.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
just my personal thing. I don't really have a lot of experience with Prime shows, so I guess take that my opinion with a grain of salt for now. But I guess just my worry is that it'll feel low budget, but these castings are good. And Olafur, he's been in. I didn't realize. I just looked at his Letterbox. He did voice work for How to Train Your Dragon 3. I
Hmm.
don't know who he is, but I'd say it was Ragnar the Rock. I don't know who that is, but
Sounds like a villager.
he's probably just a dude because he was lower on there. But he's done
Yeah.
Viking stuff, if that counts for anything.
Well, I mean, it probably means he's at least got a voice that fits what needs to fit
Yeah,
because that sounds like a small detail, but it's not. I mean, in a mythology based story, that is important that your characters don't sound like dumbasses. Like that is actually something when you're playing the games, you're like, these guys like this is gonna sound so dumb, but it's gonna sound like when you're hearing the characters talk in those games, you're like, these guys sound cool. Like it sounds stupid, but like it's true. Like you're like these guys fit the mythology base. Like this makes sense. So if they casted this guy who looks all big and tough and he shows up and he's like, "Hello, I am Thor," that would be fucking awful. So I get what you're saying, Gil. Like that's his minor role, but it's something. And I actually will double down on your sentiment about being concerned about it feeling lower budget, not because it's Amazon. I do think Amazon absolutely has the firepower to do it, but this feels like the kind of project that you need a giant budget for. I mean, like if you're gonna make it look as good as the God of War games do, you need a film budget. So I'll be curious to see what kind of budget they're able to come up with. I'm sure as the show gets closer and closer and more information drops and more hype comes out, that budget will potentially start rising. They'll start putting more time and effort into it, but that's only if the fans want it, you know? They're like, for example, Jack, you're gonna be sad I'm bringing this up, but like Rockstar, they're very when it comes to like listening to their fans, they're very keen to like what the fans say is what they do. And one thing I've heard a lot is the reason a Red Dead show hasn't happened is because some of the fans have said that they'd rather have games than shows. Like I've heard people say that a Red Dead show hasn't happened because they want Red Dead 3, they want
That
GTA
I would
6
agree with that.
rather than a show. So if God of War fans are gonna have that mentality, they're not gonna put a crazy budget into the show because they're gonna be like, why
Yeah.
would we? So it comes down to me like as a fan, I know I just said I'm worried, but like I just think fans need to make sure that they're at least excited for the show and see where that goes. And hopefully that budget that we talk about, Caleb, gets raised and they can make it look as good as the games look, which that's a tall task. But they got to do at least half of as good as the games do because that's part of the beauty of those games is like you can just take a scene out of any point in the game and be like, wow, this is incredible. And there's so many different locations. You're going to all the different realms, you're going to different places in the realms, you're going underground, you're going like all these different places. That is expensive to make all those different sets. So that's where I get concerned is how is that budget going to be used to make it look good and afford a cast that's going to be actually like accurate, I guess.
you know,
Well, by the way, Gabe, you're totally right about the Red Dead show because I would so much rather have Red Dead 3 immediately versus this show. Um, Also, you'll be glad to know you're not crazy about the voices thing with the guys sounding cool because that's literally exactly what goes through my head when I'm playing Red Dead 2. I hear them talk with their Western accents. I'm like, nice. It's just it's part of the immersion, and you have to hit that if you're really going to get people to buy into it. Also, that kind of to tie that back into God of War. I do think that the one of the biggest issues with this and why people are so afraid of it is the Kratos casting. I think we're kind of beating around that bush. I frankly I think you could cast Atreus fairly reasonably. I don't think I wouldn't say easy, but you can find some kid that can, you know, act like a little asshole and then grow into a solid character by the end of the game. But Kratos is kind of a different thing because he's like you're casting a guy that's the size of Thanos basically, but you're not using CGI. So that's such a hard task to fill.
He's only like
And
6'4".
okay, he's got to be at least 6'4", just 600 pounds of
Roughly.
muscle.
Roughly.
No, Caleb.
No, no. Too tall. Too tall.
It's and so I feel like whoever they cast is not going to look exactly to the part, and it's just going to determine. It's going to be determined based off the acting chops that the guy has. I think that at the end of the day, that's more important than the look, to be honest. Um, Tyler, to ruin your day, you said we want to stay away from HBO and The Last of Us. Honestly, that's kind of the feel that I'm getting right now, is that
Yeah, I
that's how
didn't
this is
ask.
going to be. I feel like
at
there's
least
going to
season one
be,
was good.
yeah, I was going to say that. Like The Last of Us, the first season was pretty good. They were pretty faithful. I thought the castings were pretty good for the first season. I mean, I know we had our problems on this podcast until I stopped watching the show altogether, but with Ellie in season two, before I gave up on it. But
That wasn't Ellie. Sorry. Who are we talking about? That wasn't Ellie. There's a different character involved.
I agree, actually.
It,
But
Elaine.
I'm just saying, I
What's his
think the
father?
first season could be really good. You could have a pretty solid cast. You could still retell the story fairly well. I get the feeling that it's going to be one of those things where you watch it and you're like, that was pretty good, but I'd rather play the game 100 out of 100 times.
Mm.
That's just kind of the vibe I get. I don't know if you're going to be able to make a show where you're like, yeah, well, that was really really good. That borderline better than the game. I don't know if that's possible. And there's other adaptations like book
Hmm.
adaptations where you could
Oh,
argue the book is just as good or bring something different to the table. Like with I'll use the Hunger Games as an example. I could read those books or watch those movies and be perfectly happy with either because the films are done so well. They're different, but they're both done very well. I don't know if this is one of those projects where it's even necessarily possible to do that to make it
notice
something better than the source material.
notice how all the good ones are all movies, not shows. Because I would rather follow that
That's a
format,
good
quite
point.
honestly.
I mean, I haven't read the whole Harry Potter franchise, but I think the general consensus there is, yeah, the books are amazing and they're different, but the movies are also incredible. And so you could really go to either and experience everything you need. And I'm a fan of the Maze Runner movies. I know some people probably like the books more still as adaptations. Like it's possible to do it, but I think I agree with Caleb. I think you need a film. I think you need a whole film production crew, a whole film budget, which Gabe did mention that they're going to need to pour in the resources if they want to do it. But I don't know if, frankly, that's going to end up happening. So I am concerned for it. But it's also not my baby. I'm more worried about Gabe and Tyler's concerns
From
for
the
the
budget
project.
standpoint, I disagree, or I agree, but I'm actually going to disagree. I think a show is the correct format for this. I think there's so many different chapters to Kratos' story that you almost have to tell it in a show. Otherwise, you're going to have to make multiple movies, and that's
Yeah,
going to
I
take a
wouldn't do one movie.
long time.
I would probably do I would do
Well,
a
if you
movie or
make
two.
one, if you make one movie, you're pretty much saying that we're just gonna pick and choose which parts of Kratos we want to tell. A show,
Sure.
you're saying we can do seasons. We can tell as
Yeah.
much of Kratos as we want. And there's a lot of lore with Kratos from the old games as well. So if they're gonna take the
That's
route
true.
where we want to tell Kratos' story, I think a show is almost necessary because you can go back and you can do a season two that takes place before season one. You
Hmm.
can do and with a movie you kind of box yourself into where all right, this is our version of what Kratos is, and
Yeah.
we also talk about like with you can bring a Maze Runner, Jack. I love the books and I love the movies. My issue with the movies is they leave stuff out. With a show, you
They
have
do.
way more
They do.
time. You have way more hours to get through, which means there's less stuff left out, and that's something that if done correctly, is a good thing.
Hmm.
But the vice versa is if done incorrectly, you're wasting time and you get filler episodes. At The Last
Yeah.
of Us 2 is
Or
fucking
adding new
shit,
bogus.
or
Yeah.
yeah, or you just change
Yeah.
the story. But here's what I will say obviously I'm going to be more optimistic because this is my favorite thing,
Hmm.
but I did mention that I'm 70, 65% worried compared to not worried, but I will say I will say I do think that the story of God of War is such a fascinating story that at bare minimum I think you are going to be able to tell an interesting story. That's a bare minimum. Now, the difference is going to be if you just do a one for one shot adaptation, which is where I think you'll hit what you're talking about, Jack, where you're like, that was good, but I'd rather just play the game because it's more fun? Or are you going to be able to tell parts of his story and not exactly your own spin to it, but putting different parts together, telling different stories that you can maybe say we haven't seen Kratos go on yet, but make it canon, make it accurate, and tell things that we haven't seen. Make big CGI creatures, make big, like,
If
there's
you can
so
nail the
many cool
visuals,
things that could
yeah.
happen. And if you get that almost cinema-esque budget, it will happen and it can happen. That's the fear though,
Yeah.
is the fact that if they try to limp dick it and not do a big budget, you're gonna get the Witcher show. That's what's gonna happen. It's
That
gonna become
is
the
exactly what I am comparing this
You
show
just
to.
have to bring something
yes,
new to the table.
yes,
That
because
you
people
have to
complain
offer something
about
different.
yes, people complain about the Witcher show being the exact as the game, just lower quality. If that ends up
Hmm.
being this God of War show, that will be disappointing. And it'll be like Jack said, it's like I'm just gonna go play the game instead. So
Yeah.
you gotta up the stakes, you gotta up the visuals, you gotta tell a version of the story that's not been told in this order. You gotta just do things differently, but not the way The Last of Us did it, where they're like, let's just change the entire main story. Fuck you. No, don't do that.
And that's a little hypocritical of me to do that, because if you were gonna ask me to make a Red Dead project, I would also argue that it would have to be a show because it's
Mhm.
chaptered out.
Mhm.
Um, I then this isn't a got you, but just because Caleb brought up the point about the best adaptations being movies, I was wondering, does anybody like off the top of their head know of a TV show that is a
The one I was
great
thinking of was
adaptation?
people love Fallout. That's what I
People
was
have
thinking
been
of.
I was
loving
going to
Okay,
it.
bring that up.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
that is
that's fair.
also produced by Amazon as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of. But I was thinking of this while you were talking. I
Yeah,
was trying to think of the
So was
best
I.
ones that have happened. Witcher was the one that
okay.
I was gonna say that. I was like, this is giving me Witcher vibes,
Wasn't The
100%.
Witcher good at first and then
I
fell
think
off, or
I think
no?
People
people,
enjoyed it, but I
yeah,
think the game fans were like in that stage where they were just happy to have an adaptation, and then they got to the point where they're like, okay, this is getting like
yeah.
We
There's a
we might have
niche
missed one,
hole,
Caleb.
and I'm sure there
We
will be
might
a
have missed one.
niche for God of War. We probably have,
Ga
but
Game of Thrones is an adaptation.
oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
the best one.
yeah,
But
that's a
people
big
don't like the
adaptation.
ending, so like I
That's
mean that's what happened to Last of Us too. Like
hey,
Isn't the
they
isn't
had
isn't the Walking Dead
what's
an
the
adaptation? Weren't they comics?
Yeah, it's comic.
yes, it is. That's a good point as
Walking
well.
Dead were
Although
comics.
once again, that show kind of fell off in the last couple seasons too.
True,
It's
but it's
still
there's
still
so
a
going.
many.
very, it's
It's
still a
still going because
super
they don't know when to stop.
highly,
Here,
highly rated
yeah.
show still. But
Okay,
Here's
so there you go. Obviously, it
there
is
are good
possible.
no,
adaptations.
It's
yeah,
definitely
And
possible.
and I actually will say, season one of The Last of Us, I'm going to take it a step farther and say that it was great. Like I
I
thought it
agree.
was super good. Like I was super excited for season two, and that's probably why I hated it so much was because I was so excited because
Mhm.
season one was so successful. I mean, there were I remember seeing all the posts when that show came out that were comparing the side to side scenes from the game, and I was like,
Mhm.
that is sick. And then they were changing little things like when he ran into Henry and when he certain moments like when they met characters where they met them, and I was like, that's good. Like you're changing it enough to where I'm seeing different things, and even the ending was perfect. And then you get to season two and they just rewrite the story, and that's where you lose me. So like
Yeah,
it can absolutely be done. You just got to hope we avoid any of that unnecessary, I would almost call it arrogance of a director who thinks that they can tell a better story than what's already been told. You get these directors that think they need to put their own spin on it, kind of like what Todd Phillips did with Joker 2, trying to put your own spin on a story and change it pretty much as they described, giving a middle finger to the character. I mean, and that's more hateful than that, but like you do get directors that say like they think that they're putting some sort of creative twist on something, and this is
The
such a
Last
random
Jedi.
knock and call out, but it's how I feel about Osgood Perkins. Like I think he just makes movies to be like, I'm creative and I can make cool things and I can put my own twist on them. And it's shit. It's shit. It's terrible. That's how I feel like the shows can get derailed is when it's like, I'm gonna put my own spin on this story and make it my own thing. Don't do that. Like stick to the story. The fans want the main story to be the same. It's the side plots. It's how we get there that you can change, that
yeah,
you can make look different. Like at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to be the main story. It's going to be the same story. It's the side stuff that you're allowed to change. So ultimately, yeah, I'm worried, obviously. At
yeah,
the same time, it's one of my favorite pieces of fiction ever. So like I'm not going to not be excited that they're doing it. But this is the kind of thing where one thing of information could drop and it could make me be like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad. Like they could drop the budget and it could just be terrible. And I'll be like, this show's fucked. Like, will I watch it? Yes, but we'll just have to see. I guess that's kind of where I'm gonna leave it. Is it's up in the air. It's early in the process, so we'll see. I guess.
yeah. I mean, there's a fine line to these adaptations for live action. Even with like How to Train Your Dragon, we're like,
Yep.
then there's the argument of is it even necessary in the first place?
Yeah.
Which is that whole debate. I know we would probably lean. It's fun to see it. I think there's
Yeah.
a crowd that specifically hates it more than we'd probably do.
For sure.
How much
But I want
money did that movie make anyway?
probably a lot. The last thing I want to circle back to is, yeah, I do. You said you disagree with like the the show, like the how the. Oh no, I'm lagging. No, am I
That it
back?
should be a movie.
Am I
Yeah,
back?
Oh,
yeah, you're
yeah. No,
you're
you're
fine.
good.
Okay,
You're
all right.
good.
I liked it for a second. I actually agree that this has to be a show. I'm just saying my take was that I think that a lot of the time the better stuff is movies, but I do think that God of War like
I
has to
agree.
be. Like it kind of like you kind of described it yourself. It's kind of boxed itself because of the length of the show. It's the game itself, I think, is one thing you have to think about. Like
Yeah.
how that game is a long game, especially both of
Yeah.
them combined is a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. So I can't imagine how many seasons that's gonna have to be. Four, like five. I don't know. It's gonna be a good amount probably. So yeah. I think that that's the whole thing where I was like, it kind of just
Now
has
he's
to be.
gone.
unfortunately.
Now you're lagging bad.
He's in the void. No, he's not.
Oh, we're
He
back.
just
We're back.
morphs into the absolute sim.
Yeah, we're not cutting that. We're keeping that.
Good. Keep it.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
I
Yeah.
get Caleb. I get what you're saying. I do agree. 90% of the time, a movie adaptation is more successful than a show adaptation. I absolutely agree. But yeah, we can just leave it at. This will be interesting. I guess we'll give
You-
updates as we get closer.
Well,
Hey,
unfortunately,
Gabe.
I still have a couple things to say. So,
Oh shit! Sorry, Tyler. Jeez.
going back to what Jack said about the casting for Kratos, that is obviously the biggest concern and the biggest thing that you need to nail if you want this to be even mildly successful. Which is why the obvious choice should be Christopher Judge. I mean, he's literally played the character, looks like the character, he's got the height, all of that.
Yep.
But going back to Gabe's comment about side plots and how getting how you can change it, getting to the main story. Um, so these two roles that we're casting, Thor and Boulder. If you haven't played the game, Boulder is the main villain, and Thor is not in the game. Actually, he's straight up not in the game. So that makes me think that a route that they could potentially take is going through Boulder's perspective, maybe. Obviously, keeping
Ooh.
Kratos as the main character, but going through Boulder's perspective of following Kratos, going back to Asgard, talking to Thor and Odin, and doing something involving that while tracking down Kratos and Atreus.
I love that idea, Tyler. I think that would be a super interesting twist. We can learn more about who Boulder is because in the beginning of the game, it does feel kind of odd when he just shows up and starts beating the fuck out of you. You're just like, who is this guy? And you don't really ever get a backstory other than just how he got to be this way. If we could see that, shit, that would be really interesting. Like, I would love that, Tyler. That's a great point. I mean, um, just the fact they're casting Thor, I hope it's not just I hope you're right, and it's not just for the scene at the very end of the game where he's standing there and you see the lower half of his torso. If that was like the only thing they casted him for, that would be insane. If they're just like teasing that he'll be in the next season,
Well, yeah, I was gonna
that
say
would
next
suck.
season.
That's what I'm saying. If they're using that to like tease it, that would
Especially
be
some people that play the
awful.
game already know that like teaser.
that
So
is.
it's like
Whoa!
Exactly. That would suck if that's all it was for. So like that leads me to believe that if they're gonna cast a name that's like decently known and already talk about casting him, I'd be pretty shocked if it was gonna not be a story including him somehow. So yeah, that's Tyler. I love that idea. That's a great idea. I think that would be really cool.
Put me in the room.
Yeah, fuck, sure. But yeah, I think that could be cool. Was that the only thing you were gonna
Yeah, that
add?
was it. I was
Okay,
gonna talk about
that's
Fallout, but Caleb brought it up earlier.
yeah,
So
no,
Hey,
that's
hey,
we'll go with
Gabe,
that.
a good point. Yeah.
don't worry if for
Mine.
mythology fans, if no one got you, Christopher Nolan's
Oh, I
got
am
you.
well aware. Yeah.
Even if this
I am
project
well
sucks,
aware.
you got it. You're
Yeah, I'm. The Odyssey is going to be the greatest movie ever made, so I am well aware.
all right. What do you got, Tyler?
When we first
Unless
started talking
Gabe was
about
about to
this,
throw something there.
sorry, I was gonna say when we first started talking about this, I was literally like Christopher Nolan doing this movie, this this game adaptation would be
Yeah,
absolutely peak.
scrap, push the Odyssey back, give him the God of War story.
Can
Just
can
let him
Christopher
make
Nolan just do God of War
God of
and
War.
Red Dead, please?
Eh,
Okay, buddy. If you're gonna get something, you got to throw me a bone too.
I feel like Nolan wouldn't do a good what I feel like he wouldn't do a good Red Dead.
funny
You
enough,
made the Prestige.
funny enough, what that it's not
It's
really.
the same. It's close
What?
to time wise. That's
I
pretty
should say
close.
Oh,
time wise doesn't make it a
No,
western.
no,
It's
no.
He
Get
could get
Tarantino to
back.
do it.
He could get in his.
No,
No,
no.
Tarantino would ruin Red Dead.
Oh my God!
Tarantino does
If
not have the
Tarantino did
touch.
Red Dead,
I wonder what
He
your
doesn't
favorite
have-
Tarantino
we
Tarantino
would
movie
not
is.
be there.
I love Tarantino's movies. He does not have
He would
like
be
the.
awful.
He doesn't have the touch and feel and soul to do
No.
Red Dead.
He's
I don't
so
think he could make.
chaotic.
I don't think he could
So
do the
chaotic.
emotional impact
No,
that
not at all.
we need. Honestly, I don't know if Christopher Nolan would be my first pick for it too, because he's a huge action.
I don't know if
blockbuster guy.
Tarantino would actually be my pick.
I
But I'm
wouldn't pick
saying
Christopher Nolan either.
he has such dude. That's his best. His movies
I would-
have the charisma. Like that's his biggest quality.
Charisma's not what I think of at all when I think of Red
No.
Dead Redemption.
I mean,
I'm
fair,
thinking of
but
an
you're saying like
impactful,
that.
No.
literal life-altering story of
Yeah, Jack's
of
like
pain.
life changing.
It literally changed my
groundbreaking-
life. I'm not even kidding.
I know,
So
Get Spielberg to do
wait.
it.
It is a hell of a story.
Yeah, it's
I
super-
would need Spielberg in his prime would have cooked, but obviously that's a pipe dream now. So we can move on to the next thing. I keep making about my
Let's
game.
jump to the next topic.
We're moving on to the last topic.
I think you're gonna say
We
Last
are-
of Us.
Nope. And good news, Jack. We are staying on the Red Dead conversation. Now, this is rumors.
Let's go.
This is rumors. But apparently, Red Dead 3 is in pre-production right now, and apparently it might have already started in 2023.
We are so back.
So Jack, I gotta ask,
We're
what would you like the story to be?
well, first of all, I'd like to say we're getting Red Dead 3 before GTA 6.
No, it's
We
gonna
are
come out
getting the
after
game.
that.
Nope, we're getting it
No, but we got
first.
Philip Rivers before it.
Oh my gosh,
We
dude.
got Philip Rivers unretiring before GTA 6 comes out. Thank God it wasn't after GTA 6 came out because he'd be about 62.
He has a
But
grandchild. He's a grandpa.
so sorry, Tyler.
He's
I
a
got
father?
he is literally a
He's
grandfather.
a father of a
But
couple. Yeah.
you said how would I like it to be? How would I like the game to play out?
What would you do? Like what would
Okay.
your story be?
So I've thought about this, of course.
Don't go too far.
There's three options. There's four options. I'll try to be brief.
There's six. No,
The first option, which was the last one I just thought of, I'll just get out of the way. Just pull GTA, totally new characters in the setting. Just try to do it completely original new story. I'm not opposed to that because obviously they can do it. But that's the first route. That's not very complicated. Second route, I'm doing this because my least favorite of the three. You could follow Jack after the first game and keep going.
You?
The problem for
I don't know
John
what you would
Marston's
do.
son, dummy.
I don't know
The
what you would
problem
do.
is you're
'Cause that
getting
leads
out of the
into
Western era.
yeah,
You are in World War One. I believe he
Industrial
fights in World War One.
Revolution type
Making a
stuff.
COD
It's-
campaign.
It's assumed that he would end up fighting in World War One. I don't think
it's a
it's
tie-in.
confirmed.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
COD campaign, and it leads into zombies.
Exactly.
it's a
This is
decent-
why. This is
No,
why
there
we're
is
not
a
doing
there is a
this.
zombies mode in
Red Dead 3 is a
2.
DLC on
Jack
Black
grows
Ops
up
9.
to be Rick Toffin.
Yeah. So obviously that's not the ideal route because you'd be leaving the Western era. You'd be getting more. There'd be cars and there'd be like freaking mustard gas. It wouldn't feel the same. So that's not where I would want to go. But they could if they wanted to keep going chronologically. A fan favorite, and I've heard a lot of people want this one, is to double down on the prequels and go back in time.
We're going
Not to
back.
get turkeys off the menu, but and go to the origins of the gang with Dutch and Hosea.
And you play as Dutch.
You'd probably end the game with the Blackwater heist. What would be cool is if you could do both characters and you like flip back and forth just like you do in the GTA games,
Mhm.
and you could flip perspectives. That would be great. But so that's one of the options going back to the origins of the gang, seeing them recruit Arthur and John when they're young and doing that. And then my personal favorite option is we continue after Red Dead 2 and we also do the dual protagonists and we do Sadie Adler and Charles Smith because both survived the events of the game. Charles moved to Canada, so if you wanted to up the stakes, you could add Canada. You could add Canada to the map. You could expand the map, which would be awesome. And follow Charles, and you could also be following Sadie as a bounty hunter. And the nice thing is, neither of them have like written out destinies, so no one would know what's going to happen to their characters. If you play Red Dead 1 and then you play Red Dead 2, you're kind of like, well, most of these people have to die because they're not in the first game. And so if you play that and it's a sequel to those events and you don't know what's going to happen to Charles and Sadie, you can actually see what's happening for them. Sadie could absolutely use more story and actually seeing her obtain happiness. Obviously she's like back on her feet because she's a badass now. She's a bounty hunter, but she's really happy. She's kind of
She
just
probably
on the
doesn't
run
like
killing
Christmas.
people. Maybe, I don't know. But actually giving her character like resolution could be pretty entertaining to watch. And it would also be unique because we've never had a female protagonist that's playable in Red Dead. And then Charles is the GOAT. It's kind of difficult to have Charles be the only character because he's already goated. So, but anyway, that's the route I would like to go. I'd like to see them go with both those characters. You could even go full GTA 5 and add a third character, an original character, and go with that. There's so many possibilities they could do, and that's the route I would go personally. So you guys retained all of that, right? Took notes.
Yes.
Didn't take notes, but I understand.
Didn't take
what
notes,
you're
but I
saying.
retained it.
My-
It's all up
my-
here.
You told me this before,
My
Jack.
1.5 longs are now depleted for the night, so I'll see you next week.
Okay, Jack's done talking. Kidding. Jack, I actually like the very last thing you said the most, which is having Charles and then using Sadie and an extra third character and essentially introducing a new character that kind of has a unique storyline that we haven't maybe seen before, who's a part of the story as well. Because then you're doing a bit of both. You're giving us old characters in the story, and you're giving us one new character that gets to come along as well. And that could be your essentially your character. Maybe you don't play as much as
That'd
Sadie
be
and
awesome.
Charles, and you maybe it's like a GTA thing. You make your character essentially and just play as whoever your character is, and they just call you by whatever. I don't know. I'm just thinking of ideas that would be cool, but I mean, it'll just be cool. The thing that blows me away to think about is how good the game will look. Thanks. The
Dude,
thing that
dude,
blows me, Caleb, is that what you wanted to hear?
Yeah, I did that one. Yeah.
Um,
dude, Gabe, I
but
know
how
what you're
good the
talking
game will
about.
look. The game looks this good and it came out years ago. So the fact that it could be an upgrade and a nicer version of that game is crazy to think about. So the biggest thing that I want though from the game, and not that anybody asked, but I'm going to tell you anyways, is I want the side quests to be much different. I felt like there were a lot of tedious side quests that were uninteresting, borderline. I would like the side quests to be more, maybe like, I don't want to say hands-on, but more like actually like, what am I trying to say? Kind of like how hunting was like a game almost. It almost felt like a mini game within a side quest. I want the side quest to have not just a purpose to the story, but like something to do other than just like go chase down my stupid brother who is stuck in a cult. Like
I think
that
they should copy and paste the fishing mechanics.
stuff like that.
No.
Yes.
Well, no, stuff not the fishing mechanics exactly, but stuff like that, like having things to go do that are not just useless shit. Like go save this woman from like a bobcat or something. Like that's not
That's cool.
interesting. No, it is not. It's just not
Are you
interesting.
talking about
Like
Charlotte?
I'm just talking about side quests that I remember
You're getting
doing that I was
Charlotte
like,
hate?
I,
Unbelievable.
She's goaded.
no.
He just growls.
My point is, I just want side quests that are more fun, I guess is the way to put it. I think GTA does that really good. GTA 5 had a
Or doesn't
lot of
want
side
chores, and
quests
I don't blame him.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
you're
good way to
doing
put it. I
farmhand
don't want
work,
to be
buddy.
doing chores essentially in a video game. That's not
Sorry,
something
buddy.
I'm here to be doing. And there is literally,
Put your boots on.
as you know, I played the prologue, and there is literally a part where you are just
Epilogue.
doing epilogue, sorry, where you are just doing chores.
Buck reader.
You eat my dick. There is a scene where you are literally just doing chores. Like that's it
Uh,
for like 20
yeah.
minutes. That is not fun at all.
You
Like
literally built a house. It's great.
okay, that's cool.
Yo,
But
that's big.
that's more fun than that's more like relaxing. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The actual like chores, like stuff like that is just not fun. So like I think in GTA 5 when I played that campaign, there was like crazy side quests, like crazy things, and that's because GTA 5 is a lot crazier. There's all sorts of bad shit scenes. There's a lot of drugs involved, but my point is, I just want with Red Dead 3, I would just like side quests that are a little less obnoxious in the sense of like, what are we doing, and more of like, wow, this is cool. This is we're it's like when they force you to see parts of the game that you wouldn't see without a side quest. When they force you to use mechanics that you wouldn't use without a side quest. I want the side quest to have a reason for why I'm doing them rather than just like let's give them something to do for 20 minutes.
Like when you go pick up
Well,
rent from
Yeah.
all the people.
Yes.
Or their
Well,
loans or whatever.
you had to do that so that you could die.
I don't do that part anymore.
That was
Me
the point
neither.
of that's the point of what Gabe was talking about. What I said, I was like the getting the
Having
loan
a
stuff.
s-
That they sound tedious in the beginning,
Dude.
but they have purpose.
Having a side
Oh.
quest that is meaningful and not
Yes.
just
No.
and not just like I said, not just doing something to fill 20 minutes because
I'm
there were
afraid.
a lot of side quests to me that felt like, yeah, sure, maybe it told a interesting, fun side story, but it was like this is never connecting to the main story. Like there are so many side quests that people who've played Red Dead for years probably have still not done because they're so just absurd and random. And it's like there's a difference between let's make a cool deep game and let's make a game with side quests just so people can like waste more time on the game.
I
Like
don't know, Gabe. People have modded alligators. They can ride alligators. They probably finished.
yeah,
the
that's
cycle.
sick. No, I'm not saying obviously I'm not saying everybody's not playing it, but I'm just saying like
I know.
there's a difference between just adding shit because you can and adding shit because it's actually like tying into your story and telling like making you do fun side quest things is where I'm going with that.
Me personally, there's not a single flaw in the
Yeah,
entire
I'm
game,
well
and
aware
they
what
should
you
just
think.
do the exact same thing again, but with a new story.
Well,
No.
can I bring up the fact that we gotta eat my dick from Gabe before GTA 6?
We did. We probably had a
On the
few of
mic.
those before
On the
GTA 6.
mic.
Well, I
Probably had a few
kind
of
of I
those.
wanted to get back to Gabe's point where he said, I mean, the game could look better graphics wise. We might get it on like the PS6 or 7 at this point.
Uh, yeah, that was
There's
good.
nothing.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was
honestly,
good.
Great moment to
honestly,
end on.
I think the graphics that Red Dead 3 could have might actually blow up my PlayStation. So
Well, not on
I
the
think that's
six.
fair.
Or even
We're we're gonna end it here. We're gonna end the episode right now.
Well, this
I
is
was
about where people
I was
click
holding
off
on. I
anyway,
was
so
holding on to that one for a while. Not gonna lie.
I'm glad that's what's taking up the space in your
Gabe's
head.
Gabe's really hitting the speed. He's going.
Gabe, hit the outro.
Yeah, Gabe, just mute him and hit the outro. I agree.
I'm the host.
we're gonna end it. We're gonna end it here. As in my life, I'm done. No. Thank you guys for listening to the episode. Obviously, we enjoy talking about current events and whatnot. There's a lot of different stuff that we can talk about, so it's always fun being able to do this kind of stuff. But as always, please continue to check out our other forms of social media content as we are posting a lot of different stuff, trying to keep up with news and whatnot. But as always, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you guys next time.